Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to another Let's Collaborate episode. Before we get started, let me address a few questions that were asked in the previous video. Instead of commenting, I'm going to do it here. So, for those of you guys looking for the EOS channel, I'll make sure to put the link in the description this time. The reason I didn't want to comment the link is because it's very long. We're almost going to hit 500 subscribers, and that's when we get to personalize our YouTube link. And pretty much once we have that, I'll be able to link it more easily to you guys. But it's the EOS Records channel. I am changing the name to Evolution of Sound only. I just need to talk to Google about it. So, okay, so we had other questions. One of them was, can you please organize? Why don't you organize? And blah, blah, blah. So, as you guys notice, I pretty much do have things organized, but, you know, I have a couple of things that I could name, which I haven't, and that's just to save time on the videos. But whenever I bust stuff, for me, that's organizing. So as you guys note, I have bust my drums. I compress the drums in a bus, not individually. I EQ'd the drums individually as well. We'll just cut the low end out. Sorry, turning on an air here. Hopefully it doesn't cause that much noise. And then, you know, my leads, I process them, you know, in a bus as well. Now let me talk about the buses real fast. If you guys still have more questions about it, I'm gonna try and review with you guys with what we have been learning over the past progressive house collaboration and these ones. So buzzing something in Ableton is as easy as just holding Control down. You click, you highlight whatever you want, and then you press Control G, and Ableton makes a bus for you instantly. So you don't need to fucking route shit like other people on some tutorials tell you how to make a bus in Ableton. The group function is a fucking bus. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because there are some people that are just hard-headed and say that's not a bus, and in reality it's a bus. The act of busing something, even since the dawn of, you know, music creation, is sending 3 channels to one channel to come out through just one channel, and then before they come out through that channel, you can process them, and that's called bus processing. So whenever you hear someone with the lingo, oh, I processed it in a bus, this is pretty much what they did, and don't let them tell you otherwise. Because if you notice, our leads here, if I put up the IO here, you can see they're all being routed to group, and this is the group they're being routed to, so through the lead here. So if I were to turn this off, but these are still on, no audio will come out, because the audio coming out of the leads is coming through that channel, which is the group channel, and they won't come out. And pretty much that's what buzzing is. So don't let them tell you otherwise. And if you guys are one of those people that just tells people, oh no, that's not buzzing, that's not buzzing. All right, so let's get started. So today we're going to be working on the breakdown. Sorry for that being really vulgar. I should say classy symbol, not vulgar symbol. All right, so let's get with the breakdown. All I've added is an impact here. Holy shit, that's loud. So I added that impact to let people know, okay, we're going to the breakdown. And effects are mainly used for that. They're used to help, you know, kind of take the track from the intro to the breakdown to the drop and so forth. So effects, think of it as a street light going green and red. When it's green, the breakdown, or it's like, you know, helping people that they're listening, you know, go from the build up to the drop and so forth. So effects, that's the way I see them. They create a lot of atmosphere, and they're perfect for what they do. All right, so we're going to come up with a melody for the breakdown right now. So we're going to open up a silent one. I don't know why I called it silent one. Okay, so we're going to put this one. I don't use the other one because the other one's like the J-bridged version of it, which I don't need. I got the 64-bit from the Veda. All right, so for those of you who have questions about, you know, what 64-bit or, you know, 32-bit, what's the difference between them? 32-bit allows you to use up to 4 gigs of RAM from your computer. So what that means is if you have 8 gigs or 12 gigs of RAM, it won't use all of it. It will only use 4 gigs of RAM. While if you have 64-bit, it lets you use up to 16, I believe, or 8. It's either 8 or 16 or 12. You can use more RAM, so that's the reason I use 64-bit for everything. All right, so I want to use a lead. Okay, so I think we're in the key of G, so we're gonna make a G minor melody here, which is pretty standard. So the G minor contains the keys G, A sharp, I believe that's C, D, D sharp, F, and then back to G. So that's our G minor scale. I think I'm gonna go the way of making it like usually how I do my melodies. I'm more of a trance guy, if you guys notice, if you guys haven't noticed, so I'm gonna do it that way. Control Shift M, not Control Alt M. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up a super saw, and the banks I use, by the way, are the Silent One Revolution, and I believe it's the Spire Revolution one, which you can find on the Evo website if you guys want them. And here we go. Alright, so I'm gonna use the MIDI input method, and I usually don't use this method, so I might get a horrible melody. I usually do it through the keyboard because I do play piano. I've done it for a couple of years now, ever since I started producing. And I recommend you guys to learn, because that way you don't have to, you know, kind of, you can kind of organically come up with the melody on the keyboard and then input it, or you can record it as best to your ability. I don't like doing it this way. Let's just put it that way. So let's see what we can come up with. So whenever you start with a melody, you necessarily don't have to start on the root note, but I like to start there because it tells people, okay, this is the note, and whenever that we go back to that note, you know that's the resolution. So whenever something ends in G, that's going to be the resolution of the melody, or ends in a third of G, and so forth. So I like to set that straight from the beginning. And subconsciously, the people's brain, and this is the way I see it, they pick it up. So if you don't give that resolution and the melody ends, they're gonna be like, wait, where's the end of the melody? So I'll talk about resolutions as we get there. So let me see much time do we have left? Okay, we have a few. All right, so let's see what we can come up with. As always, guys, send me your melodies too. I like to use your melodies because they just you know, it's called Let's Collaborate series, so I'm just the person getting the ideas and putting them into a track and teaching you guys how I do it. So it'll be great if you guys can send something. So a good melody is always going to have repetition. So one of the things I always go for is repetition, and you repeat that a lot. They do it in pop, they do it in you know, in every genre. The chorus is repeated a lot, and that's the catchy part of a song. And the melody is too. That's what makes a really good melody. So right now I'm just inputting shit like crazy. So the repetition here is going to be the beginning. Dun, 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 dun. And by all means, this is not a Melbourne melody, so we're going to have to change it. But just to give you a quick note on the melody thing, as you guys know, we're repeating the first bar, which is a repetitive thing, and then we're changing this bar in the fourth bar, so it's not repetitive and it's adding sort of something. So when you're working on your melody in the fourth bar, you want to set it up so it comes back to the first bar. You don't want to have it go to a resolution and then repeat it, because it makes no fucking sense. So if I wanted to have this work, so it works into the melody again, so it loops, I would put it below a G or on an A. So I'm gonna change this part real fast. Dun 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 dun. Simple as that. And there we have it. It just repeats. So the reason that took me like 2 minutes to make. Now, the reason the melody works is because, one, it's all in the same key. So it's all in G minor. Two, it works because every time we switch into a different chord, the note that's beginning is changed. So if you notice, we have a G, and then we have a G chord, and then we have an F chord, and let's see, 1, 2, 3. That can work with an A sharp here. And then we have D sharp starts at a G, which is harmonic with D sharp. And what harmonic means, in my opinion, harmonic to me in melody writing terms means that it's the third, the fifth, or the seventh of something. Obviously, if I play the fourth of something, and when I'm talking about third, fourth, and all that stuff, pretty much what I'm talking about is G, A, and A sharp. So G, 1, 2, 3, and that's our third. A sharp is our third, so that means it's harmonic with G. And then we go another up 3, 1, or sorry, 5. So 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our fifth is D. And usually your fifth's always gonna be like really darkish when it comes to this stuff. But I'll explain more in another video in the EOS channel, hopefully, about melodies. So as a review, the beginning repeats and then we just change the ending. So that's pretty much it. Okay, so we'll just use that. It's as simple as that, and that's how big room melodies are made. So from here, now I can separate everything into what I want it to be. So if I want the top layer to be played by our Melbourne-ish leads, we can do that. So that's what we're gonna do real fast. Gonna add like a bass beneath this, so the bottom note, our chords that we put in the bottom, and these aren't the chords, these are the bottom notes of a chord that we can make. So we'll do that right now. We're gonna move this. My friend Jacob's on. We're supposed to do something right now. So after this, I'm gonna go Skype his ass. This needs some reverb badly, so we're gonna give it to it. Alright guys, don't forget to send me your melodies, by the way, so we don't have to use this melody, which is big roomish, but I'm just showing you guys how I would create this and move it along. Now there's another way before we end the video that you could pretty much take a Melbourne melody, and that's keeping the bass going. And then from there you can keep going. But the reason you want to keep the kick and kind of the offbeat bass going, and we see this done a lot in, you know, tech house and sometimes Melbourne and sometimes big room house where there is no breakdown. It's just like a dun 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 dun, and the reason for that is because it adds tension. And the reason you do that is whenever you have a track that's really hard and it's meant more for like party, going hard, raging, you do that because you don't want to add a melodic aspect to it, because it takes away from that party, like, because, you know, euphoric and had. All right guys, so that's gonna be the end of the video. It kind of went overboard, so I'll see you guys next time. All right guys, so I couldn't finish that rant, but as you guys note, it builds tension, and that's pretty much all that's needed. So don't forget to send me your stuff. Follow me on Facebook. That's where you send me your MIDI melodies, and we'll go from there. Remember, no MIDI packs, and I'll see you guys next time.